Hi guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Evelyn if you are new here. It is officially Summerween and I'm so excited. This is a 7-day long, I think, July 3rd through I think the 9th marathon hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads, and it's just a fun way to participate in like a community readathon challenge, I guess. There are prompts and bingo cards, there's merchandise, all of that is linked on her Instagram and on her YouTube channel. She does this every summer. I think it's always in July, and it's just a really nice way to transition from the Tarot Readathon that's in June, hosted by Noelle and Deja, into July, which is also an exciting time of the year because it's my birthday month. I am a Cancerian, so all the emotions over here. But yeah, I'm excited for the books that I have chose for this year. I'm going to share all of those with you, and let's just jump right into it. Okay, so I am going to read Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson. I feel like I see that book all over Instagram, or I used to anyway, and one of the prompts is to read a book with pink on the cover, and so Guillotine is obviously perfect. The other prompts are to read a book in the dark or at night, read a thriller or a horror book, read a new to you author, someone you've never read from before, and read a book with less than 250 pages. And then there's also Instagram prompts, suggestions for you to post on Instagram. There's a bingo card, which is really, really cute. I always love the bingo card. And then really cute TBR graphics as well. So yeah, back to my TBR. Guillotine is a novella. So we're hitting a lot of the prompts already. We're starting off strong because I've also never read a book by this author. So winning all the way around here. But as far as I can tell, our main character is in fashion. I think she's just graduated and she's not having a lot of success in finding a job, getting her foot in the door in the fashion world. And she meets a guy at a bar who I think goes to the same school. I don't really know the details of that, but he's a certified douchebag. However, his mom works for some sort of well-to-do magazine, and our main character wants to meet her. She feels like if she can meet her and gain her as a contact, that it'll help her get her foot in the door for her first job. So she's going to essentially do whatever she needs to do to get in this guy's good graces so that she can meet his mom. And at some point, it must go downhill because this is a horror novella. I've heard that it's very gory. I've heard that it is a very eat the rich type story. So we will see what happens there. My next book is Freshwater, and this was the author Emery's debut novel, and I don't think I've read anything by this author yet. So this is also a new to me author, and I think this is also, it's 230 pages. So this is also a novella, which is cool. It centers around a young Nigerian woman, Ada, who develops separate selves within her as a result of being born with one foot on the other side. Unsettling, heart-wrenching, dark, and powerful, Freshwater is a sharp evocation of a rare way of experiencing the world, one that illuminates how we all construct our identities. It says her parents successfully prayed her into existence, but as she grows into a volatile and splintered child, it becomes clear that something went terribly awry. A traumatic assault leads to a crystallization of her alternate selves, Ashugara and St. Vincent. As Ada fades into the background of her own mind and these selves, now protective, move into control, Ada's life spirals in a dark and dangerous direction. This sounds so interesting to me. Narrated by the various selves, so we're getting multiple perspectives, love that. Within Ada and based in the author's realities, Freshwater dazzles with ferocious energy and serpentine grace. heralding the arrival of a fierce new literary voice. That sounds fantastic. And then last but not least, I would really like to get to Sisters of the Lost Nation. I have a physical copy of this book over there on my bookshelf. A young Native girl is trying to figure out what is going on with the women in her town. Women are disappearing from her tribe's reservation. And on this journey, she delves into the myths and stories of her people. And she's also being fucked with. Like, something is haunting her. So I've heard it's very like atmospheric and also in that same vein of like folkloric writing. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, if that makes sense. But if it does, then I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's also based in a casino, which I love. But it says, Anne starts to suspect that not all the horrors on the reservation are old. As girls begin to go missing and the tribe scrambles to find answers, Anna struggles with her place on the res, desperately searching for the key she is sure lies in the legends of her tribe's past. When her own little sister also disappears, she'll do anything to bring her home. But the demons plaguing the reservation, both ancient and new, are strong, and sometimes it's the stories that never get told that are the most important. Part gripping thriller and part mythological horror, author Nick Medina spins an incisive and timely novel to life as an outcast, the cost of forgetting tradition, and the courage it takes to become who you were always meant to be. I will be really glad to read that one and decide, am I going to keep it or am I going to unhaul it? Okay, so right now I want you to pause this video. I want you to tell me if you are participating in Summerween or not. Hi guys, good morning. I am hopping on because I finished Guillotine. It was a super quick read. I borrowed it from Libby, which is awesome, and I loved it. I don't think it's gonna be like a favorite of all time, but it was a really like fun, quick read. And when I say fun, I mean like the writing was really good and it was super fast paced. Like there was no wasted time. You jump right into the nitty gritty of the story. This is 100% an Eat the Rich revenge story. And the twist I didn't see coming. Like the part of the plot that describes the relationship between the characters and how it turns out that they know one another, I didn't see that coming at all, and I thought it was really well done. This story is brutal. It is very bloody, very over the top revenge, like gross. And it was great. I thought the writing expressing the themes of that 1% ultra wealthy generations upon generations of money and comparing that to the working class, the people that worked in their home, and this narrative that we hear in society of, oh, boys will be boys and women can't really do anything about it. Their hands are tied, you know, and oh, we were just having fun. Like, it's disgusting. It's so disgusting. It's so vulgar. And even before I knew what we were really talking about in life, how people don't understand the violence and the crime and the hate and the evil behind those actions, behind those behaviors, behind those people is astounding to me. How someone doesn't understand that your actions have consequences and everything you do is a domino effect. Yet you are raised to believe that, you know, daddy's money will get you out of it. You don't see people as human beings. There are no consequences for your actions. And then you have boys and raise them to believe that. It's just so disgusting. Yet people hear about revenge stories, and we have shows on TV like Snapped, and that crossed the line. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'll digress on all of that. The book was really good. And if you like a good revenge story and you do not shy away from gory, brutal acts, this one might be for you. I did also just pick up Freshwater, started that, and I am reading it on my e-reader while listening to the audiobook. I really love the audiobook a lot. But so far my experience, and I think I'm almost 50% in, this is kind of like a fever dream to me. I don't know exactly what's going on. I'm enjoying the writing a lot and I'm enjoying what I do understand, but I fear I am completely lost. I understand theoretically like what is happening with these characters and with the idea of being in the liminal spaces, but a lot of the writing is unfortunately lost on me. And so yeah, if you have read Freshwater, please leave your thoughts in the comments below, because by the time I edit and post this, I will have finished the book, and I would love to talk to somebody about this story, these characters, and what the fuck is going on. But yeah, I'll give another update once I finish Freshwater, and then I'm really excited to jump into Sisters of the Lost Nation on my physical TBR.
There's a man across the street, wears collared shirts, loves whiskey neat after dinner. He's got emerald eyes that shine just bright enough to dull the ring on his finger. I was meant to steal his heart, I can see us in the stars as clear as day. There's just a couple little things that are annoyingly getting in the way. And my mama always told me all is fair in love, and I should never be afraid to fight and shed a little blood. Cause he's my medicine, my everything, my angel from above. The only reason why I've done the things I've done. I mailed a dozen roses to my future husband, humming to the music, hearing his wife cry. She'll curse at us from hell as I'm unbuckling his belt. I'll watch him through the window, hand between my thighs. He knows he has my heart. If he forgets, I've carved our initials in his front door with my kitchen knife. I'm counting down the days till the ugly voices fade. Such a picture perfect face.
Hi guys, So I have just finished reading Freshwater, and this is a story that talks a lot about identity and trauma and a lot of spirituality through our protagonist, Ada, who I guess has multiple selves, which makes a lot of sense to me. But what I was very unfamiliar with is the spirituality of it all, with her being a Nigerian woman and having the different background than I do, obviously. And I'm very uneducated on most of what she was talking about. So it was really interesting to read this book through the perspective of a fictional character. She has multiple selves living inside of her, and I thought that was going to mean like personalities, like different versions of yourself, but it was something that was being called Obanji, I think is how you pronounce it. And it took a much more spiritual aspect than I was anticipating. And yeah, I'm repeating myself, but it was very interesting. She names the different selves that are living inside of her that for one reason or another will take the forefront of her. So it's no longer exactly Ada. It's Ada and two others, which I want to look up here because she has given them names. Where is my app? However, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pronounce them. Ashugara and Saint Vincent, I think, is the other one. Okay, so we also have multiple perspectives in this story. We have Ada occasionally, and we have Ashugara a lot. And then we have we, who is the combination of selves residing in Ada's body. And so, yeah, that was very interesting. I thought the writing was really beautiful. There's snippets of poetry throughout the book, and the prose was just really, really pretty. I will say I personally had some trouble, as I mentioned earlier in this vlog, following along with some of the writing, but that's definitely a me problem. And I also had a lot of trouble connecting with Ashugara. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that poorly. But I had trouble connecting with her a lot of the time. And then we learned something towards the end of the book that just made me have almost a sense of appreciation for her and what she always tried so hard to do for Ada. I think that sometimes it was very misguided, and I think sometimes it was very selfish, and I don't want to minimize that. However, she and Saint Vincent both clearly love Ada, and they're having their own non-human perspective of what is going on. And the best human vocabulary that I can think of to use here is that they always had her best interest at heart and at the forefront. It just was sometimes misguided coming from her. I think that's my final answer. But there were some very sweet and tender moments in this story from the we perspective and then from Ada, and just everything that she's having to go through, from the separation of her mom to the abuse that she endured to, all of the trauma from her early years to being in college and being in a different country and just navigating early adulthood the way that she was. Because she has a different perspective, right? Having these different selves that reside inside of her because the gates didn't close. And that was all just so interesting. The spiritual aspect of this book, this story, was just so interesting. I definitely recommend reading this book. It was very short. It was under 300 pages, and I'm glad that I stuck with it. I honestly almost paused reading this book because I just didn't understand. I couldn't follow. I started listening to the audiobook, and that was immensely helpful. So if you feel like you're struggling when you pick it up, I would maybe try that as well. And definitely encourage anyone to just stick through it. It's a short read. And I think too, some of the trauma is obviously intense. There's a lot that Ada has had to experience. And in the end, you realize that there's a lot that the others are experiencing too. And it was just a beautiful story of what it is to be human, what it is to be aware of something other than this life, and also someone who deals with mental health struggles day in and day out. So if you're like me and don't exactly read the happiest of books, I would recommend picking this one up. It was a little bit unsettling, but it was also really powerful. Okay, I'll leave it at that. We are going out of town this weekend, and I have tomorrow off. I gave myself that to kind of like prepare and not have too much stress. So since I do have the whole day, I think I will watch a scary movie in the morning. Yes, in the morning, because wifey is about to be home and she is not a scary movie girly. So I'm not going to put her through that. I will watch it in the morning and I will read tonight. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to go start dinner and maybe put on a spooky playlist while I cook.
Ever chose her, it's clear she doesn't know you like I do. She's a liability, the villain in our love story, baby, you know it's true. I see the sweat run down your cheek, so out of breath, I know you're thinking of me. Ooh. And I'll do anything I can to keep you close, make us a beautiful reality. And I'm trying to save you from something that you don't want to keep. I listen quiet in the confessional as you're talking in your sleep. I believe that at the end of it, our true love will prevail. I know once I slay the dragon, he'll be grateful that I mailed a dozen roses to my future husband, humming to the music, hearing his wife.
So I went into this movie completely blind. This was just recommended to me by my brother. And then the next day, a coworker talked about it. And then I got a third recommendation. So I was like, okay, I gotta watch this movie. I don't know this blonde woman's name that's in Weapons. I know her from Ozark. And I have loved her since Ozark. Like, I love this actress so much. I think she does a great job in everything that she is in. This movie is so, like, it's so creepy. I'm not going to spoil it, but all that's happened so far is she's a school teacher at this elementary school. And I loved the intro because it was narrated in this little girl's voice, which I find to be so creepy. And basically, the teacher gets to work in the morning and all but one of her students has gone missing the previous night. And they've just vanished. No one knows what is going on. And the blonde actress that I'm referring to, that is the teacher, she seems to be, I'm sorry if you can hear my washing machine. She seems to be, I don't know. She seems to have some like problems, like personal problems. And she takes it upon herself to like do her own investigation because she's been dismissed from work and told to just stay home and lie low until things get better, whatever that means. And she can't just like sit at home and not do anything. So she started like investigating, and she's very interested in the one kid that didn't go missing and his house and his family, etc. And what just happened with the woman in the house, if you've watched this movie, that's all I'll say, you'll know what I'm talking about. That scared the shit out of me. I don't feel like I'm easily frightened, but there are certain things like that scene right there that scare the shit out of me. Like, something to my core gets frightened. Oh my god. So now we've gone from Justine to Archer. I don't know if we're getting different perspectives or what exactly is going on. I went into this movie completely blind. I'm having a very good time. I'll do another update at the end. I'll try really hard to wait till the end of the movie. This is insane. This is so gross. I just got to the part in the kitchen. Oh. I will say, there's a lot of faces in this movie that play like small roles. Of course, I don't know any of their names, but let's see. Okay, so Julia Garner, that's the blonde actress from Ozark that I love. Josh Brolin, June Diane Raphael. She's in Grace and Frankie. I love her. Justin Long. This other main lady, the real nut, she's in a lot of stuff. I recognize her too. Amy Madigan, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, okay, let's get back to it. Final update on the movie. That was insane. I feel like I liked the whole movie until the ending. I didn't really care for the ending. Like, I liked the very, very, very end, if you know what I mean. But like how everything is concluded was almost comical. If you've watched Weapons, please let me know in the comments below and tell me what you thought. I overall thought it was really, really good. Super creepy, and there were some twists in there that I didn't expect, so really good overall. Hi guys, my washer and dryer are going, so I'll make this quick, but I am on page 240 of Sisters of the Lost Nation. I am absolutely loving this book so much. I am really, really loving Nick Medina's writing. I probably got like 60 pages in, and I went ahead and went on my Goodreads and added all of his backlist. Is that what you call it? To my want to read, because I'm just loving it so much. But it's not exactly a feel good. I mean, I know that I talked about this book a little bit when I was telling you my Summerween TBR, but I'm popping on really, really fast because there's a couple of paragraphs I want to read here. I am not going to talk too much about this book because I don't want to give any spoilers, but our main character, Anna, her little sister Grace has gone missing, and they're just now beginning any sort of real investigation into her disappearance. Luke is I don't know what his title is exactly. He's essentially the law enforcement on the reservation, but it just says Luke here. So anyway, Luke had done more than just contact the sheriff about Missy. Okay, so Luke says, I contacted the sheriff in town. He's currently unable, as he put it, to help. Since the girls were last seen on the reservation, their disappearance is out of the sheriff's jurisdiction, which means it's up to us to lead the search. He'd gotten a similar response from the sheriff back in July when he had requested assistance after Amber and Erica disappeared. At 19, they were considered adults. They were together. There was no evidence they had come to any harm on or off the reservation. Considering the passage Amber's father found in her diary, we're going to do it one day. We really will. LA, here we come. And the lies they had told the night they went missing, that Amber was staying at Erica's house and that Erica was staying at Amber's. It certainly seemed that they had abandoned their family and friends of their own free will. Too bad, so sad. Luke had done more than just contact the sheriff about Missy and Grace. He'd taken the hotel CCTV footage into town. If the two unnamed men had done something to harm the girls, Luke would have needed authorities from off the reservation to make the arrest, since he had no ability or right to arrest a non-Indian, even for a crime committed against an Indian on tribal land. The complex and confusing regulations left Luke with his hands tied. Even if the CCTV footage had shown wrongdoing, Anna wouldn't have been surprised if the sheriff had turned a blind eye. It was a common occurrence across Indian country. The easy explanation was to blame it on jurisdiction, but the cold truth was it went on because too few non-natives with the power to make a difference gave a damn. And with poverty as an insurmountable hurdle on most reservations, tribal police forces were either non-existent, understaffed, or underfunded. Added up, reservations became easy places to get away with wrongdoing, murder included. That just made me really sad. Because even though this is a novel, even though this is a work of fiction, it's definitely based on real events that happen on tribal land. And yeah, I just felt the need to share that. So I have about 90 pages left, and I am hoping to finish this between today and truly today. I am hoping to finish this book tonight. I work an 8 tomorrow, so worst case scenario, it'll be the day after that I finish it. But yeah, we'll see. So I'm very excited to say that I finished Sisters of the Lost Nation tonight. I listened to the audiobook and read it physically as well, just depending on what I had going on. But after I filmed that last clip, I ended up having a lot of chores to do, and I just put the audiobook on while I made dinner and did all that fun stuff. So yeah, we finished it, and I'm so excited. Kind of piggybacking off of what I mentioned in that last clip, we have a stray cat, and we have the neighbor's cat who is an outside cat most of the time, and he always eats the food I put out for the stray, and it's a little upsetting. But I guess he's hungry too. Okay, anyway, in the author's note that Medina wrote, first off, definitely read this book. This was so good. Read the epilogue, read the author's note, read the acknowledgments. Everything about this book was absolutely amazing. I think it also has discussion questions in the back. Yes. And then my copy also has an excerpt from Indian Burial Ground. So yeah. But I wanted to mention something that Medina wrote. Common names representing thousands of women and girls. It's they, their names, their hopes, their dreams who are important. I never want to lose sight of that. I hope you won't either. If you'd like to learn more about this issue, or if you'd like to help by getting involved, you can find a number of great resources online, including nativehope.org, the Coalition to Stop Violence Against Native Women, csvanw.org, and Native Women's Wilderness, also .org. And he talks about, in his author's note, things that are going on that are not fiction. People that have been affected by stories like this one. And he has a lot of statistics and facts that were quite alarming. And these are not things from decades ago. These are things happening in 2018, early 2020s. Like this is not old information. Records from the National Crime Information Center indicate that more than 5,200 Indigenous women and girls were missing as of 2021. The actual number of missing women and girls, however, could be much higher. The NCIC also found that in some counties, Indigenous women face a murder rate that's more than 10 times the national average. Other studies indicate that Native women are likely to suffer physical and sexual assault at a higher rate than and disproportionate to the national average. I mean, it's just terrible. I do want to talk about the book because I did really enjoy the story. I enjoyed Anna so much, our protagonist, and her grandmother and Miss Shelby, and the writing in general was so enjoyable. I mean, enjoyable is probably not the right word to use there, but it was just so well written. I flew through this book, and to know that I've had this physical copy on my TBR for so long is wild. Just sitting there and how much I loved it. But this is a horror thriller that came out in 2023. I believe this was Medina's first novel, if I'm not mistaken. And wow. I mean, I obviously loved it. It blends the mystery of the young Indigenous girl that goes missing, multiple girls that go missing, with Indigenous folklore. And I love folklore so much. I just find it so interesting. These stories that are passed down for generations, the culture that goes back so far is always so interesting to me. And yeah, this was no different. I ate it up. And this takes place on tribal land that I learned in the author's note makes up a bunch of combined traditional stories and cultures of different tribes all over the country. But this is obviously a fictional one. The Dakota tribe is a fictional one based in Louisiana. And we all know here that I love stories set in Louisiana. So that was fantastic. Something else I really loved about this book is exploring the theme of identity and gender. We learn something very special about our protagonist that I won't give away because it was a big part of my reading experience, and so I imagine it is for others as well. But how Medina includes that in our character, and then also what you learn in a more nonfiction way in the author's note, really tied all that together because I didn't know very much about this particular thing. I had heard of it before, but yeah, I definitely had some loose ends tied up after reading the author's note. So that was super cool. And not only how Anna came to understand and appreciate herself more towards the end of the book, but how she came to give grace to others in the community was absolutely stunning. I mean, she's so amazing. I love her so much. So yeah, this is definitely a 5-star for me. And I might even venture to say my favorite read of the year. I would have to go back and look because I can't remember everything I've read this year. But as of July 2026, this is definitely a top 5. That's for damn sure. So yeah, very cool. I have loved Summerween so much. Obviously, we're going to continue this theme because basically after my birthday, which is early July, wait. Summerween is usually the first few days of July, and then my birthday usually falls in there. And basically in my household, after my birthday, it's Halloween. And so, yes, I read horror and thriller and suspense, mystery, all of the above year round, but I feel like it really amps up Summerween through Halloween. But then we have Winterween. So who am I kidding? I read these books all year. But yeah, it's still been fun to participate, and I love Gabby so much. Her content is absolutely amazing. I will link her in the description box below. Also, Gavin, another booktuber that I love so much, he did a series of Summerween vlogs. So definitely go check those out. Gavin reads it all. And yeah, I appreciate you so much for clicking on this video. If you made it all the way to the end, how about leaving the ghost emoji to celebrate Summerween? And don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.